एक मिनट रुक जाओ, रेडी होने दो। चलो ये कर लेते हैं, दिस कुड बी अ ग्रेट इंट्रो।
Hi, I'm Akshay.
Hi, this is Saurabh, and you are listening to the Founder Thesis podcast. We meet some of the most celebrated startup founders in the country.
And we want to learn how to build a unicorn. Often, a person becomes an entrepreneur when he sees a problem that exists in the world and decides to solve it himself. This is pretty much what happened with Kunal Popat, the founder of R for Rabbit. When Kunal became a father, he realized that India just did not have the kind of high quality strollers and other baby gear that he was looking for. And instead of accepting the problem and trying to import something for his daughter, he decided to just go ahead and build it himself. Even though he had no experience in manufacturing or marketing or branding or sales, he just went headlong into it with nothing more than perseverance and optimism. Today, that perseverance and optimism has paid off. R4Rabbit produces some of the most popular brands of strollers and ride-ons for kids, and they also raised the $5 million funding last year. Here's Kunal talking about how that whole journey began.
When my daughter was born, as I used to travel internationally day in, day out, 15 days I was out of, country, regardless of the month. Okay. So when when you have your first child, you always wanted to give the best. Okay. So I couldn't bring a lot of big items from outside, like stroller or car seats or high chairs or cradles. I had to buy it from India. I used to buy a lot of small stuff for her, like rash creams and all, because there were very less rash creams available at that time, good quality. Okay, so you can bring those.
Which year are you talking about?
I'm talking about 2012.
Okay.
Okay. So at that time, there were only 2-3 companies in India, and then there were international brands available in India. So whenever I used to buy, I liked international brand quality, but the price was quite high. If you want to get a good stroller, you have to pay 18,000, 20,000. And as a Gujarati, you see value in everything. Okay. So I thought, I need a good quality, but I cannot pay 18-20K. It's not that I cannot afford, but I don't want to pay. This is much more than a standard Indian can buy. And there were other domestic brands where the quality was extremely pathetic. And being always exposed to the international market for last few years, I used to learn about standards. What are the standards of safety? But because international, all the countries works on standard. There are always standards for everything. So when I had my first child, I used to say, okay, what are the standards for cradle? What is the certification for cradle? So I couldn't find any certified product. I couldn't find any safety certified stroller, okay, which has gone through those safety standards. So I struggled to get right product at the right price for my daughter. Okay. So no doubt I had to compromise and pay high to get international quality. But that always pinched me that this is not something right. Okay, either it's too cheap, no standards, no by domestic brands, or it is international brands they are selling too expensive. So there might be many parents like me who wants to give their child the best. Okay, who wants to give their child safety certified products, who wants to give their child international quality, but they have a budget. As we all Indians, we know the value of money more than Europeans or Americans. So value for money was the thing, where I found that it needs to be safety certified and standard, but it has to be right value for a parent to afford so that it doesn't pinches. So that's how, I started the journey of entrepreneurship. Like a thought was born in my mind that, okay, this is the white space that I want to enter. And it took some time to enter, but gradually we started step by step and we entered into.
So tell me about that journey from idea to execution. Like you had an idea, okay, there is a need for baby products in India which are of international standard. So how did that idea get executed?
So initially, as an entrepreneur, you always wanted to build first in India. Okay. So I started to create a product For the first product that I created domestically in India was Cradle and Crib, which was a unique design, four-in-one product, which can become a cradle, which can become play yard, which can become crib as well. Okay. Uh, it was conceptualized in India. I tried to develop in India, but when you sometimes when you create and vision a product, and when the real output comes, it's different. Okay. So design and practicality, uh, the finishing that I can get from the Indian vendors was not up to the international standards. The technology was missing, the plastic components that I wanted. Uh, there was no ecosystem of baby products. Okay, so everything you cannot develop here. You need to get few parts from the ecosystem. Okay, so the ecosystem was completely missing, and because of that, what I envisioned that the product will be and what it really came out, there was a difference. Uh, we tried to push it. The product is, by the way, patented. Design is patented. Okay, we filed for a patent at that time. But
Okay.
then
But how did you design? Because you don't have designing skills
yeah,
as
yeah.
such, no? How did
So
you?
I hired the best agency who used to do the product development only,
Okay,
engineering
okay.
company.
And this was while you were still working, or you had quit your
No,
job by
no,
then?
I was still working because I couldn't afford at that time to just leave the journey. So till the product was conceptualized out, I wanted to work. So it was all night hours, weekends, night hours. You spend. There is no 7, 8 hours, 9 hours that I have worked in so many years. So that's how the journey was started. But ultimately, I realized after selling to the market that this product will not scale up to the level that I thought of. And it was,
How did you get the first few sales? Like you found a contract manufacturer in India, and then you got a few pieces, maybe 100, 200 pieces delivered, and then you like tell me how did you go about doing that? Like
it was, like I found the contract manufacturer. We created some 400, 500 pieces. Okay. And initially, I asked him for delivery of 100. I didn't have the warehouse. So I said, okay, deliver to my home. And one room was packed with so much of product. So
and how did your wife react to
yeah,
that?
so I would say that I'm lucky and fortunate that she always supported me. Okay, so she used to understand my always the vision that I want to become an entrepreneur. So many times I used to share idea before I started that I want to do this, I want to. So she understood me very well. That so she supported me because I was working. We listed the products on Amazon. It started selling. We listed on at that time the First Cry was new, so we started to sell in First Cry. So she was the one who started to work with me as a co-founder and run all the operations for the company. So initially it used to be from my home. Then it was time for me to pivot the business and say that okay, I have to change the product, and that's how I.
And how were you selling it? Was it through Amazon and
Yeah,
Flipkart,
yeah.
or
So it
like?
was an online sales through website on. So that were the main channels that we started, and then it was time for me to think that okay, this product has a limit for scaling up, and even as a founder you see that this should not be there, this should not be there. This finish can be better, because when you always see international quality, uh, you itself as a founder, if you are not happy, sometimes you have to take the hard calls. So I already invested 15, 20 lakhs at that time to create the conceptualize the product from ideation to uh, finalization and production. I said that okay, it's time for me to hard call. Let's discontinue. Okay, so we stopped the product and we pivoted the business model, and we said that okay, as I wanted the best for my child, okay, let's get it and uh, I would say let's customize it as per the Indian taste, the international standard safety certified products. Okay. So that's how we started to get into the baby gear business. We started with strollers and carry cot and 3, 4 items.
When did you quit your job? Like, when did you get into it full time? Was it after you decided to pivot,
Yeah,
or before
even
that?
after I decided to pivot, even after I started to get the ball rolling, 1.5 year. So, so after pivoting, I worked still for 1.5 year to validate that what I was doing was right. And Kinjal managed my wife. She was handling the operation, so she managed the operations, and I used to be at the back end conceptualizing and telling, guiding her that talk to this, we have to do this. So uh, this is how step by step we started the journey.
What did you pivot into? Like, initial model was to design and build in India. Then what did you pivot into? Like,
Design in India, they are produced outside India.
okay, so you got it like from China or
Yeah, yeah. So
Vietnam or one
exactly.
of
So
these.
China, Taiwan, and other countries where the ecosystem was very strong. At the end, the ecosystem of any product that you want to launch has to be strong so that you can build a great products, because a lot of components you can source from third party. You cannot
Yeah, yeah.
create everything on your own. Like there are so many components in a stroller. So if you say that I want to produce wheels, I want to produce bearings, I want to produce this, it will take time to launch a stroller. But if you say that this is the type of fabric, like even I couldn't get the fabric. Okay, Oxford fabric is generally used in strollers and high chairs and car seats and all. Oxford fabric
And
is not.
what does Oxford refer to?
It's a fabric, a type of fabric. Okay, it's not polyester. It's not cotton. It's a type of. It's a man-made fabric which is different, which has got enough strength and all. And there are deniers, ex-denier fabric. You cannot source this from India. You can get this some of the colors, but that too it was imported from China only. So the options were very less. So even the fabric you couldn't get it in India. So that really, frustrates you that, there is no ecosystem in our country, so big country. So there was no option but to, have that, okay, let's get into a place where there is an ecosystem and design the products ourselves and get it manufactured by someone where there is ecosystem.
And you continued with stroller as your product, or like, uh, did you expand into other products
So
also?
initially we just started with four products. One was stroller, uh, one was carry cot. Okay. At that time I was so fascinated that we launched mini washing machine. Okay, which was you know I saw that everywhere, like when a child is born, their clothes are washed separately. Okay, because it's soft, it's dirty, there are many reasons. It doesn't get mixed with hygiene.
Hygiene.
It doesn't get mixed with the adult's clothing. So at that time, I said that let's launch mini washing machine for just for babies' clothes. Okay, so that was one of the product. After some time, we thought that we are not right for this ecosystem, because for having 4,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees washing machine, people were expecting us to deliver service at home, like you buy LG or Samsung washing machine. So that is not possible.
AMC and
Right.
breakdown
So
and
that is not something, we could send the parts, we could give them as a remote supply, remote support, but it was not possible for us to, give a home service to people. So the expectation of customer is coming from, the bigger washing machine. So we discontinued after some time, after a couple of years. But those were and one was walker, baby walker. So that's how we started with four products, and step by step we got the success. Fortunately, people.
how much sales did you do initially? Like, first year of business, how much did you sell?
So we started in December 2014 to do real sales, and I remember that hardly we touched, I think, 8 lakhs in those financial year. Okay. So then we got, like, people started accepting the products well, because we were able to hit the right pain points, which I as a parent used to always find, and we tried to solve those pain points. And that's how sales was very good at the second year. and it got even better.
How did it grow? Like, what was second year sales? What was third year sales?
So,
Like
around,
rough.
the second year sales, if I can recall, it was around 1.6 year. Then it went around 3.6, then 7.2.
Okay, well, you're doubling every
Yeah,
year
yeah. So then
roughly.
18.5, then
Wow.
36. So every year we used to double.
And what was the sales like when you quit your job? When you felt yes, this will work? Like when you got that confidence?
3.6 year. So, there were no profits. Like, you hardly make money when you do 3.6 years since. But, you can still feel like it's time for you to take the call. Okay. You cannot run the business like this. So then I took the call and came full time. It was,
And which year was this? When you came full time and
if I can recall, it's about 2016.
okay.
So,
If you like to hear stories of founders, then we have tons of great stories from entrepreneurs who have built billion-dollar businesses. Just search for the Founder Thesis podcast on any audio streaming app like Spotify, Ghana, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to the show.
And then like it continued through Amazon and Flipkart, or like
yeah.
what were your sales channels like from 3.6 to 7 when you went, like when you doubled that year? Was it all through
Yeah,
marketplace?
mostly it was to marketplace, but from the day one, after once we started to stabilize the operation, we started to build channel. So we had a distributor channel in place. We had just had two, three guys of sales guys in place. So whatever sales team used to do the numbers. So we expanded to Gujarat, then to Mumbai, then to Rajasthan. Started working with some of the retailers.
These would get supplied to like baby product
Exactly,
stores,
baby products.
like the organized one, like say Mom and Me and First Cry types, or like unorganized.
So at that time, the sales team generally works with unorganized stores. Okay. When you are small, you cannot expect that organized retail will accept you. Okay. It's a bitter fact of life that only once you grow to some extent, they will show the acceptance. So it was all, small baby stores who used to give us an opportunity, and that's how we started. But still, at that time as well, the majority of the sale, 80% of the sales was coming online only via marketplaces and all. So
Okay, okay. Okay. So by 2020, what volume you must have been like at the 30-35 CR mark around 2020.
yeah, by 2020, yes, we had like before COVID, in the year of COVID 2020. So FY, you can say
FY 1920
1920,
basically.
we did 56, 56.
Okay, 56 CR. And this is again 80% online, 20% offline.
Yeah, like 70, like then you had First Cry as well. First Cry is a different business model. So First Cry has online, offline both. So we consider, everything under one, and distribution retail in others. So along with First Cry and online marketplaces, it was still 80, 75, 80%, and rest was offline.
Okay, okay. So did pandemic affect you either negatively or positively?
It affected both. Negatively, in terms of the entire supply chain was disrupted, and now it's disrupted. So the cost of logistics, the cost of inter-country travel, a lot of things affected us a lot. So we had to pass through that shocks. Lockdown was another shock, that you have a huge team and you have zero revenue for 2 months. You don't know how to manage cash flow, and you had so many containers lying on the port, and no one pays you. Okay, in COVID, everybody stopped paying to in panic.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was very tough time, honestly, very tough time to pass through. But yeah,
Did you fear that you will like you'll have to shut down?
never.
Did that fear come?
Never,
No.
never.
Okay.
It was we I under we understand that okay, it's pain. You have to pass through that pain. It is there. It's going to there for some time, but it was not like closing down the operations. I never had even a thought that I'll close down. Yeah, we always expect that we don't know how much the sales will rebound. It's gonna be tough time to once again get back to run rate, but it's not about closing down.
Okay. And so this 2021 financial year, then what did did the sales bounce back? Did you cross 50,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
like was it
So
below?
no, we, and as I said, it affected negatively and positively. Positively because a lot of customer changed the habit from offline to online, and we were there in all the online places, which is available, options available in India. So that was a positive aspect for us, that we could tackle it very well, and it helped us to survive faster. Okay, and it helped us to bounce back as well. So even in the 21, we did 67. So we surpassed the number that we did last year.
What is your estimation for your top line in 21-22 financial year?
We want to be as close as possible to century.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Okay, okay. So you initially invested that 15, 16 lakhs of your own money. And subsequent to that, like, did you keep investing your own money or did you raise funds? Like, how did you finance this?
It was all bootstrapped till we got the first round. There was no seed funding. It was all the funds coming from myself, family, and friends and families. Uh, so we kept on investing, and then you get a small credit line from bank. You get a small credit line from NBFCs. So that's how you keep on funding the growth. But then at that time, you have to take a call that it's time for you to get more money to have a faster growth. So at that time,
What is the way in which you decided that, okay, now I need funds? Like, tell me about that thought process when you decided to raise funds, and how did you go about raising funds?
so initially it was bootstrap business, and as most of the businessmen thinks that you are very much responsible when you have an external capital. Okay, it's not just responsibility, but it's a responsibility about returns. It's a responsibility about a lot of things. So sometimes you try to say that I can avoid 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, as much as you can. Then in probably January, we thought that we the brand is getting sufficient traction, the numbers are looking great, we can scale up to the next level. We want to get into categories which require more funds. So it's not possible, it's never gonna possible with the internal accruals and all. You need more funds, and banks, because they had their constraints of lending, they will not support. So that gave us a thought that it's time for us to let's start and go to the market and pitch the idea of raising money. So we hired investment banker. Okay, so
This is January 2021.
January 2021. So we hired investment banker Deloitte, and he helped us, to get in front of many investors. We pitched to many. Some were convinced, some were not. It's always like this. And finally, we, were able to raise the funds in October.
So, what made you choose an investment banker and not directly go to VCs? I mean, most VCs will respond to an email from a founder, especially a founder who already has like a top line of 50, 60 CR. So, what was the advantage of going through an investment banker?
I have to accept strength and weakness of mine. Okay. When you are an entrepreneur, you are an engineer. You don't understand some of the investment theories, philosophies, thought process. Uh, the jargons that they use. When you have an expert with you in this, they coach you. They tell you, like someone asked me, 10-year projection. Okay, I can prepare an Excel, but that is not sometimes that they want to see on the cash flow front, on the balance sheet front. Okay, you need to have an expert who tells you, no, this is way it looks like, this is how it goes in balance sheet and cash flow, and this is how your actual business plan will look like. Okay, so I needed an expert because I'm an engineer. I'm not coming from an investment background. So we thought that an investment banker will help us to get the things right in place, and will share his experience. Okay, what are the processes through? What are the standards of investment? Sometimes someone tells you terms and condition. You said, how can you tell this? Okay, but it's an investment standard. Every startup accept this. Okay, so who will train you for this? So investment banker helps you. No, no, Kunal, what they're asking is logical. The logic behind this is this. That's why they want security. That's why they have put this clause. So you always go with the experience of the people and learn from that.
Okay. And I think you raise funds from Exponentia Capital Partners.
Yes, yes, exactly.
So why did you choose them? And like, they're not like a name I have really heard much about, so why not like more names that everyone hears about,
Okay. Why? It's a nice question. Sometimes you go with an investor where you see the fine tuning of your minds. Okay. I coming from I'm a traditional entrepreneur. Okay. So the numbers, the fundamentals matter more. Okay. Than just top line and uh, this new age businesses where you constantly burn and you wait for the cash flow to become positive one day. Okay. Uh, so sometimes you have those differences with investors that uh, you want to have a sustainable and a scalable and a fundamentally strong business, which obviously wants high growth. Every investor wants high growth, but the fundamentals has to be respected. So Exponentia partners, their partners were coming from the same theory, same background. They want a fundamentally strong business who also understands the value of money, right spend at the right time, getting into the do a lot of homework before getting into any category. Do everything has to be well researched before you get into. So a lot of principles were very matched. We were able to correlate with each other. Uh, and with some, investors, you see that aggression. Okay, don't think about this. Just go on. Just go on. Uh, so, that made us to go with an investor where we were able to have a like minds.
Hmm. Got it. Okay. Okay. And what do you intend to use these funds for? Like, what are the categories you want to enter? What are the categories you are currently in? Like, and what is the plan now? Like, how do you plan to use these funds?
So basically, we are into baby gear, ride-ons, and feeding and nursing category, which are the major three categories.
So, baby care means like rash creams
No, no,
and
baby
things like
gear,
that.
gear. Gear
Gear.
is
Okay, baby
stroller.
gear.
Gear is stroller, car seats, high chest, carriers, right? Okay. Ride-ons and feeding and nursing, where we just entered. Okay. Uh, these are the major categories, and we want to enter into baby care category, care segment of the baby. And so most of the funds will be deployed to get into the more consumables and the FMCG products of the baby. All the
Like
products.
diapers
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly,
rash
exactly,
creams and
exactly, exactly. So all the products that we have right now is one-time buy. There are no repeat buys.
right, 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 right. Okay. And all the products you sell right now are like your own brand, or do you also sell other brands
No, no,
like
it's
as a
all R for
distributor?
rabbit.
Okay, okay, okay. So this seems pretty high risk, like the category you now want to get into, like diapers and rash. I mean, on the one hand, you have like say Mama Earth kind of companies in the that rash cream and that segment, and then in diapers also, I think First Cry and all have their like private labels, and so it's like a very crowded category that you want to get into. What makes you feel confident about getting into this category?
You know, I would say every business is competitive. Everywhere there is competition. Tell me one business where there is no competition.
No, but like what you identified as the gear for, and like international standard, that did not have. It was not a very crowded category, but this category which you're getting into now is like a lot more crowded than that. So comparatively, it's a more crowded category. So what is the? I mean, what is the lever because of which you think you'll do well here?
Okay. So what I understand as a businessman, Akshay, is everybody is doing business. Okay. Everyone has their own space. You have to get your white space. Okay. Where you become very strong in specific segment in that particular category. So we, as the funds will be deployed, we are doing our research now, okay, on baby care category. That where is that white space? Which are the pain points, okay, to be addressed? What are the right nerves of the customers to hit, okay? So whatever category we have been enter into, let's say it was, you can say that yeah, it was not dominated like stroller or car seat were not dominated, but you had a lot of competition from the Chinese imports, and every other guy imports from China. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, unbranded products and
unbranded
all.
products. Okay, so you still had a lot of competition. Okay, you still had a lot of domestic and international brand competing with you, bigger brands like Kiko and all. Still, we were able to get our space, and we are doing a decent number in every category. Bicycles, okay. How many bicycles companies are there in India? How many unbranded and branded? Okay, we still entered into this category, and we have our own space where we do a decent volume, and people love our bicycles, kids' bicycles. Okay, 3 to 5 years and all. So we identify the right white space in that particular category and do our research properly, and then enter. So if you ask me what are we going to do, so we are in still research phase.
Okay, okay, okay. So this 100 crore that you're expecting this year's top line, what is the split in terms of categories? Like,
All the existing, everything will be coming from the existing categories.
no, no, but like split, like how much from say bicycle category, how much from the stroller, or like what are the major contributors?
So generally, baby gear is the major contributor, baby gear and ride-ons. So 60% coming from baby gear, 30% coming from ride-ons, 10% from rest others categories.
Hmm, hmm. What do you mean by ride on?
Ride-ons is tricycles, bicycles, kick scooters, all that particular part of so where child can ride. Okay, swing cars. Generally, it go with gears.
Okay, and how much of the sale is from your own website versus how much from marketplaces?
So we are still, trying to build that momentum from, yeah. So currently it's contributing less percentage in the total, but the next, as we have said that the funds will be used to grow the sales from the own website and making the brand much more stronger. Uh, so the technology implementation, the new is going on. We are in that process.
Okay, okay, okay. So, I've heard this that most D2C companies pay like a very significant chunk of their revenue to Google and Facebook for ads to acquire customers. Like that customer acquisition cost is pretty high in the D2C space. Like, what has been your experience of that? Like, what has been your customer acquisition cost, and how do you acquire customers?
So the platforms are the same, okay, but it's how disciplined you are, how smartly you play, okay. So I agree with all the D2C founders that the cost of customer acquisition is high, but there are always optimum level that we believe. After that, there is a waste. Okay, we always work and try to be at the optimum and spend to only to that level where we see the returns. Too much of visibility, because we were bootstrapped till now. So we always wanted to maintain that balance. And so we worked smartly. We worked only on the time where most of the customers are browsing the products and buying happens. So you control and push your spends based on the time. You control and
By
push
time, you mean time of the day, time
time
of the
of the
year?
day. Time of the day.
Okay.
Okay. So you know that maximum conversion happens up in seven between 7 p.m. to 12 p.m. and the maximum conversion happens in the morning hours. Okay. So this is the time you have push your funds, you push your ads. Okay. Then you slow down because you may get the clicks, but there is intention of buyer conversion chance is very less. So you have to optimize. We had very limited funds as a bootstrap company. So we all these use hacks and tips and tricks we learned and optimized our spend.
Mm-hmm. What is your monthly spend, like monthly ad budget?
So, right now it's around 40-50 lakhs a
Hmm.
month.
And where is it split? Like how much on Amazon, and which are the channels which you prefer to spend on, like your preferred
Wherever,
channel?
yeah, our preferred channel is wherever there are customers, wherever there are conversions. So if we see more conversion on Amazon, we spend more on this. If we see more conversion on Google, we spend on that. So it depends wherever the customer is intending to buy, we should be there.
Okay, so it's like dynamic, like it
Yeah,
changes
yeah.
every month
It's
based on
uh,
what you are seeing. Hmm.
exactly. So wherever we see the high conversion of buying, we push our accelerator to that marketplace or the advertisement space.
Got it. Amazing. Yeah, I think you've kept your ad spend very much in control, like 40-50 lakhs, and your monthly turnover must be some between 7 to 8 cr kind. So it's a pretty small percentage of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we can. That's what I said. That how much you spend and how optimum you can. Now, obviously, we were conservative because we didn't have much funds to deploy. Uh, Now, step by step, we'll ramp up our funds for brand building. Okay, so most of the funds are in performance marketing. Okay, we never pushed the funds to create, push for the brand marketing. So now we
Like influencer marketing or celebrity marketing.
exactly. Influencer we used to do on and off, okay, not too much. But as you rightly said, influencer marketing, celebrity marketing, pushing a lot of videos, a lot of, just for brand where you don't expect much sales, but you expect that, people see your brand very well.
Right.
So we only spent in the performance part till now.
And what kind of margins do you have on this? Like,
We have, unfortunately, our margins are much lesser than the consumables or care category or any other, D2C companies that have. So
okay,
those are
why is that? Like,
the industry. It's the industry metrics.
so like diapers, rash cream, these are have better margins. So that's also one of your reasons to get into that, like to improve margins.
Uh, Care has a better margins, not the diapers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, diaper is more like a customer acquisition cost, like how most kirana stores have milk as a way to get in customers, but milk doesn't have much margin. So I think diaper is something like that, like it's just a way to get in a customer.
Yeah, yeah. So diapers don't, as a category, don't have great margins. But yes, the shampoo, oil, creams, the care category have a good margin.
And so, what's the roadmap of say 2025? Like by 2025, where do you see R for Rabbit?
We want to become what our tagline says, the amazing baby company.
Okay. But like in terms of what some numbers, like what kind of top line do you think you'll hit by then, or
You know, so everything, there are always numbers that you place on a business plan. Okay. Ultimately, what you want to achieve is be in the top of the mind of your consumers in any category that you enter. Okay. So what we want, what our fundamental says is in any category that we enter, we have to be in the top three choices of the customer. Okay. So we want to get to that level where any category we go, we are in top three choices of the customer. So whether that leads to revenue X or revenue Y, okay, that's a different story. But the fundamental is this.
right, 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 right. So tell me about this name R for rabbit. Like, what is the genesis of that?
So actually, when I had my first child, um, the entire business is inspired after she was born. Okay, I could see the opportunity after she was born. I couldn't see this opportunity before she was born. Okay, so I always wanted to have that connect. Okay, that sometimes you just want to get connect with the source where it started. So at that time, when my uh, daughter was born, she used to love the software of Rabbit. She always sleeps. She used to sleep with that. Yeah, she used to love that character a lot. Okay, and I wanted to have a connect with the source. Okay. So I decided, okay, we have to coin the name. Let's think about this. Okay. So when you think a lot of things, then you wanted to still have a connect, and you wanted to have a brand where just the name can also say a lot of things. Okay, that what this company might be doing. So after a lot of iteration, you were able to see that okay, I am able to fulfill all these requirements of my having a source, my daughter somewhere getting connected, the inspiration that I got. You wanted to have a brand name which is unique, and which also a brand name says a lot of things. So, and you wanted to have a name which is unique in the world. Okay. In a international trademark dictionary, there should not be such name existent. Okay. So anywhere, any part of the world, someone searches R for rabbit. Like, someone searches the name, it has to be us only. So
.com should be available, and
yeah, all those aspects. We found this rhyming word, and that was unique, which fulfilled all the aspects when I started to think about the brand.
This episode of Founder Thesis podcast is brought to you by Long Haul Ventures. Long Haul Ventures is the long haul partner for founders and startups that are building for the long haul. More about them is at www.longhaulventures.com.